Kyle Larson already said no. 3 times, his crew chief asked. The president of Hendrick Motorsports asked. He had already accepted he would not race the 65th Knoxville Nationals. He had already handed the car to somebody else. Then, in the middle of a 400-lap NASCAR race at Richmond, a voice came over the radio. And that voice refused to take no for an answer. What followed that call is not the story most people think it is. Because, before the jet, before the flight tracker, before thousands of people watched a private aircraft cross the country in real time, there was a fight over whether Kyle Larson should have been in that sprint car at all. Stay with this. Later, you will hear the exact words he used to answer those critics. Not in a press conference. After a night nobody believed was possible. Here is the full breakdown. The Knoxville Nationals is called the granddaddy of them all. $200,000 to win. A purse over $1.1 million. The most prestigious dirt race on the planet. Larson had competed in it every year since 2016. He won it in 2021, 2023, and 2024. His cup schedule had never once collided with it, until the dates moved. Knoxville shifted back 1 week. It landed directly on top of the NASCAR Cup Series race at Richmond Raceway. Over 1,100 miles apart, the conflict was known a full year in advance. Larson told media he was at peace with missing Saturday. It's fine. It shouldn't revolve around me anyway. But he still entered the week. And that is where the criticism started. What fans did not see was the money. And the loyalty behind it. Paul Silva owns the number 57. His team races only about a quarter as often as a full-time operation. This is how Silva makes his living. Trevor Canales, one of Larson's closest friends, is the general mechanic. Larson has said he feels he owes them every worthwhile payday. He stayed in Iowa after the previous Cup race. He won the Capitani Classic, $13,000. He won the Front Row Challenge at Southern Iowa Speedway, $21,000. He won Thursday's Knoxville Preliminary, $12,000 more. A start and park for Saturday would add $15,000. That is $46,000 delivered to a part-time team in a single week. Before the A-Main even started, Larson said it plainly. This is what Paul does for a living. Anytime we get the chance to race, we try to. The Saturday plan was already set. Trevor Canales would start the A-Main and immediately park it. $15,000. He had done the exact same thing for Rico Abreu in 2015. The car locks in, not the driver. The rules allow the swap. However, outsiders raised a question. Should Larson have been allowed to run the preliminaries at all, knowing NASCAR was expected to keep him out of Saturday? Inside the sport, the pushback was fast. TJ Buffenbarger pointed out that Paul Silva makes his living owning that car. Jeremy Elliott called the criticism a nothing burger. Everybody competed on the same playing field. The easy answer is to beat him. Larson did not demand a special exception. He did not attack a reporter. He said this: if they want to change the rule, that's totally fine. That was the first answer. Calm, direct, then he went to Richmond. But here is what almost nobody calculated correctly. And this is the part that made the entire night possible. The math did not work. Knoxville driver introductions around 8:30 p.m. Central, checkered flag around 9:15. Richmond started at 7:00 p.m. Eastern. The previous year's Richmond race lasted 3 hours and 11 minutes. A realistic departure after 10:00 p.m. Eastern, flight time 2 to 2.5 hours. Arrival around midnight. The A-Main would already be over. Larson knew the size of the window. I'll be checking my weather app with my fingers crossed. He also said this: it doesn't kill me. I haven't lost sleep over it since knowing the schedule about a year now. The window only opened with a major rain delay. Historically uncommon. Now pay attention. Because when Larson climbed into the Cup car at Richmond, the forecast showed roughly a 10% chance of rain at Knoxville. He was disappointed for a moment. Then he turned his full attention to 400 laps. And that race almost buried him. He qualified 30th. fell laps down early. Finished stage 1 in 25th. He was coming off 4 finishes outside the top 30 in 5 races. He had dropped 5 spots in the championship standings all the way to 10th. However, what happened in stage 2 changed the entire night. And it is not the part you think. Cliff Daniels gambled. He pitted Larson for 4 fresh tires, chasing Joey Logano to unlap the number 5. It worked. Larson finished stage 2 in 13th. He earned the free pass, back on the lead lap. Then the radio crackled. Knoxville has not even started hot laps yet. Big delay for the race. Don't know if it's tomorrow yet, but they're way behind, just so you know. Larson answered with one word. Knoxville? Daniels said, yeah, we're working on plans for you. Larson said, okay, one word. That is all he needed. Larson later said, I got a kickstart of emotion there. Here is the twist almost nobody talks about. Larson had already said no. He said no to Cliff Daniels. He said no to Jeff Andrews, the president of Hendrick Motorsports. He had accepted it. He was at peace with it. But they built the plan anyway. Daniels said, I'd much rather have a plan in place that we can say no to than to have nothing prepared. We were persistent because we knew that if we get him there, he can probably do something special. Jeff Andrews laid out the logistics. Cobby Gorey handled communication with people on the ground in Knoxville. A chartered aircraft was waiting before the checkered flag even fell. And once the trip became plausible, the Richmond race improved. Larson moved into the top 10 late. He finished 6th, his best result since Sonoma. The checkered flag fell at 10:17 p.m. Eastern. He bypassed every media obligation. He ran from the number 5 Chevrolet to a waiting vehicle. Food, hydration, straight to Richmond International Airport. At 10:57 p.m. Eastern, tail number N501KL lifted off, bound for Pella, Iowa, the nearest airport to Knoxville Raceway. What fans did not expect is what happened next in the sky. Within minutes, Flight Radar 24 flooded with users. Peak figures ranged from 7,705 to over 16,000 people tracking one private jet. It became the #1 tracked flight on the entire platform. Globally, crossing Indiana around midnight Eastern. Over central Illinois at 12:25 a.m., wheels down at 12:55 a.m. At Knoxville Raceway, officials put the live flight tracker on the video board. Fans in the grandstands watched the icon close in during track preparation and hot laps. They cheered every time it moved closer. Journalist Matt Weaver posted from the venue. Knoxville Raceway just put pole sitter Kyle Larson's flight tracker on the big screen. Fans going wild at the sprint car capital of the world. A police escort was waiting on the tarmac. At 1:15 a.m. Eastern, Larson walked through the gate. He had missed hot laps entirely. The B main had not yet started. His first words. This is pretty sick. I can't believe it's all working out. I didn't think I'd be here. Now the part the critics never accounted for. He started the 50-lap main from the pole he earned Thursday. Sheldon Haudenschild outside. Casey Carney and James McFadden behind them. Green flag. Larson took command immediately. Lap 2, Carney passed Haudenschild for second. Lap 43, Logan Schuchart took second. With 3 laps remaining, Kahn took it back. With 2 to go, Larson hit lap traffic. He carved through it. He pulled away. He led all 50 laps. Final top 5. Larson, Haudenschild, Kahn, McFadden, Schuchart, David Gravel, Buddy Kofoid, Parker Price Miller, Brent Marks, and Chase Dietz completed the top 10. Tyler Courtney won the 22-lap B main. Tanner Holmes charged from 24th to 11th. The A main paid $200,000. The pole award added $2,000. The Jesse Hockett Mr. Sprint Car Award added $10,000. Combined with the prelim, total earnings for the week exceeded $212,000. 4th Knoxville Nationals title, all 4 inside the last 6 runnings. Tied with Kenny Weld and Danny Lasowski for 4th most all-time. Doug Wolfgang is next with 5. 16th career win at Knoxville. 40th World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car win. 22nd driver ever to reach that mark. And here is the record nobody has touched. Larson won 4 times during Knoxville Nationals week. No driver in recorded history has done that. Not even counting the Front Row Challenge, which dates to 1996. Steve Kinser won 3 times in a week in 1981. Brooke Tatnall in 2018. David Gravel in 2019. Nobody has ever done 4. Casey Kahn, age 46, finished 3rd. Best career Nationals result. I got right to 2nd there, and I was trying to do all I could to keep up with Kyle. Sheldon Haudenschild finished 2nd. A personal best. His 7th consecutive top 10. He said, "I'm glad Kyle got to make it back. If I want to win this race, I want to beat Kyle and the best there is." Victory lane. This is the moment the entire night had been building toward. It's extremely surreal. He talked about having no emotion in the days before, knowing he would not race, with only a glimmer of hope tied to the forecast. When he got in the Cup car, it showed about a 10% chance of rain. It's just wild how I'm here tonight. Then this. I wouldn't have any Knoxville Nationals championships without Hendrick Motorsports. He also addressed the people who said he should never have run Thursday. I hope all the people complaining about us running our preliminary night understand why. This was the best case scenario. That was the hitback. Not a rant, a result. A driver who said no 3 times. A crew chief who refused to accept it. A team that built a plan for a window they were not sure would open. And a rain delay roughly 800 miles away that made all of it possible. NASCAR did not fall apart. A scheduled collision did what collisions do. 2 sports, 1 driver, 1,100 miles, a 3-hour window. Kyle Larson did not just win a race that night. He won the race nobody thought he would even start. If you watched that flight tracker, I want to hear it. What was your reaction in real time? And should Cup dates and the Knoxville Nationals ever be allowed to land on the same Saturday again? Drop your honest take in the comments.